hosts of the OK Drama podcast.
We're two friends recap and break down K-dramas one episode at a time.
Oh my god, we're on episode 15!
One more to go.
One more. This one was like quite the doozy.
Yeah, I feel like I have to preface this one by just saying, like, Kaitlin, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yes. I'm giving everyone a warning that I will probably cry.
And you're either gonna make me cry or make me get really teary-eyed.
We're just gonna stare at each other with tears in our eyes.
Or look away, look down the whole time. Oh god.
But yeah, I kind of had the same reaction. So my friend Danielle is the one who like really pushed me to watch this drama. And I was like, Danielle, what are you making me watch? Because of course, like, we've had a lot of fun up until now, but fucking episode 15 throws a real curveball.
Fucks you up.
Yeah. So I guess let's just get started.
Okay.
So we'll start the episode the way we start every episode by going over the synopses from Cocoa on Hulu. Cocoa says, Shijin and Moyeon spent their happiest moments of their lives. Oh god. But Daeyoung and Myungju were going through difficult times. Alpha Team had to go on a long mission, and Moyeon feels uneasy about the operation. ...
Hulu says, Shijin and Moyeon spend many happy days together. However, there is no end to the strife between Daeyoung and Myungju. The Alpha Team gets on a long-term operation to fight a battle that can't be lost, and Moyeon feels insecure about it.
I would too, Moyeon.
Those are very similar synopsis, I think.
Yeah, except, again, Cocoa's like, English 1. And then
yeah,
Hulu always throws in some flavor.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, these are pretty to the point and actually cover the whole they basically cover the whole episode.
Yeah.
Whereas the past few have been like
the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, I guess we should just get into it because I'm just like
let's
so full of emotion.
Let's just do it.
But okay, this is one of the only episodes that doesn't start where the last one ended.
Noticed, yes.
So just a recap. Last episode had like a really sweet ending. It ended with Moyeon and Shijin just kind of like hanging out in his hospital room.
And her little voiceover.
Yeah, and they like basically fell asleep spooning on their tiny hospital bed. And it was really cute. Yeah, and like you said, she had a really sweet voiceover. So now, on episode 15, it is, I guess, presumably the following day. And we see Shijin sitting in a wheelchair, and he's listening to music. And then him and Moyeon leave the hospital because he's finally being discharged.
Yay!
Yeah, and they're being sweet to each other. And Moyeon says she's going to be his girlfriend today instead of his doctor. And then once they're outside, Shijin reveals what he was listening to, and Moyeon freaks out when she learns that it was her recorded will/confession thing when she was hanging off the cliff in Urk. And she lets go of the wheelchair that Shijin is sitting in to like scold him. But then he starts rolling down a really big hill.
It's so ridiculous.
It's really dumb, but it's really funny. And he has to, like, roll out of the wheelchair because it, like, hits a curve. And it's, like, really funny. I think how it starts out really, like, dreamy and romantic.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, these two are, like, a bunch of goofballs.
I was wondering ridiculous. When and how he got her confession onto his phone.
I know.
Because he heard it on her phone when it was plugged in. She ran in during, took it away or whatever. I would assume she would have deleted it.
Yeah.
But he somehow got it. I don't know.
I know. I was thinking either, like, he took her phone and, like, emailed it to himself. Or maybe she just never deleted it. And, again, he, like, took her phone later and emailed it to himself or something. But, yeah, I was thinking, like, why? Why does this keep resurfacing?
It's so embarrassing.
It is really embarrassing. But it's funny. But, yeah. So, on the flip side, we cut to Myungju and Daeyoung eating together. Well, like, really only Myungju is eating. She's, like, going to town.
Scarfing down.
And the food looks really good. But we come to learn that Daeyoung called Myungju to meet, but apparently he just wanted to make sure she was eating, which I guess is sweet. And so after that, she's kind of like, what are we? What are we doing here? because I guess she thought, like, they were going to talk about their relationship.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't want to talk about it, which is kind of...
Why are y'all doing this then?
Yes, like, just, again, just go for it. Like, do it or don't. We already had a do it or don't situation with Shijin and Moyeon. Like, come on. Myungju and Daeyoung seemed to be, like, the better couple almost before that. So it's like, just be together, guys. But anyway, they, like, keep disagreeing as to what they should do. And Daeyoung says he'll go to work for her uncle's company, but she knows he'll be unhappy. And Myungju says she'll leave and disown her father, which is, like, really intense. She loves this guy. But they're both basically like, no, don't do that because I know it'll make you unhappy. And, like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a compromise somewhere in there.
Figure something out.
But yeah. So then Myungju, like, storms out, and then we see... we cut to her dad, and he's in his office, and he's just, like, in a very pensive mood, kind of looking around, and then he looks at Daeyoung's discharge application, and we're like, okay, he's
contemplating.
He's got some things cooking in his brain.
And I'll also say there's quite a bit of rain happening right now. So
yes.
You might be able to hear that in the recording. It's just rain.
Hopefully it's, like, some nice ambience.
Yeah,
No,
definitely.
it really sets the mood for this episode.
It does, truly.
So then we come back to Moyeon, and her and Shijin are just kind of flirting.
Super cute, as usual now.
They're basically sexting at this point. But then he appears at her door with beer and food, which, yum. And she goes to take a shower, and then she comes out, and he's, like, lit a billion candles in her apartment, and it's really romantic. And they're, again, just kind of, like, flirting and chatting. And then she, like, kind of gets down to it and, like, makes him confess that he used their last, like, gold business card thing on the helicopter that saved them in Urk. And she, like, starts throwing a little fit. And he's like, what the fuck?
It saved your life.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. And so this next scene is one of my favorite scenes in probably the whole series, which is kind of ridiculous. But we see Kim Ki-bum in his army uniform. I know, so cute. And he's, like, walking up to the place where he's going to take his GED test. And then you see the rest of the Alpha team, and they're there to cheer him on, and they have, like, a little sign, and they give him snacks. And it's, like, really cute. Like, it's really heartwarming.
Yeah, they're super sweet.
Yeah, it, like, kind of makes me tear up. Like, oh, it's just so nice to see friends supporting friends.
Yeah.
And they're, like, so proud of him. And he looks so, like, bashful, but, like, proud that he's doing it.
Excited.
Yeah, it's so sweet. But then they, like, bring back the funny bit about, like, the soldiers popping their collars to try to blend in. And Shijin's like, guys, stop.
Yeah, he's, like, running towards everyone, putting it back down. He's like, don't do that. No, it doesn't work.
Yeah, so I love what the guys are wearing.
Yeah, they look great. They always look great when they're out of their uniform, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty good style. And then suddenly all of the guys get a call for a mission, and Saryang doesn't get one. And he's kind of just like, he doesn't know what to do with himself. And Shijin looks at him like, Like, they're both bummed out at that moment. It's kind of sad. Then he gets a call to go to Myungju's dad's office. And so her dad basically gives him the option to go on this 3-month-long mission because they don't have a replacement for him on the Alpha team yet. Or he can immediately agree to, like, leave and leave at that very moment.
Yeah.
So he's got, like, 2 options to take. He immediately agrees to go with them for these 3 months. And then her dad is basically like, let's just have you stay on until we find a replacement, which could take a really, really long time. And just,
wink, wink.
Yeah, it doesn't really say anything else. And Saryang's eyes kind of get watery. And he knows what's happening, and he knows what he's saying. It's really sweet.
Yeah.
And so he excitedly leaves to go and have another chat with Myungju. She's not there. He ends up leaving his dog tags at her door. Kind of telling her something, I think, but yeah, whatever. So he leaves them at her door, and that's all we see for a little while with the 2 of them.
You know, it's really cute because, like, you see him waiting, like, by her doorstep, and I guess at that point it's like he can't wait anymore, so he just has to
Gotta go.
Leave him there.
And then she gets there later on and she sees them and looks around like, wait, is he still here? Those two.
I know.
And then we see the medical staff, and Lee Chi-hoon finds out that Chwadi isn't Blecky's name.
Oh my god.
Finally figured it out, which is really funny. He's like talking about how he's on his phone with Dr. Daniel and realizes that Chwadi just means goat, and he's like, he kept saying Chwadi. I thought it was his name.
Yeah.
So stupid.
And I loved how they like the dialogue in that scene, because he just kind of like blurts it out and they're like, what? And he's like, backstory, or I forget like what words he uses, but he's like, or prologue, like,
yeah,
I was talking to Dr. Daniel, like, action, whatever, conclusion, Chwadi wasn't Blecky's name.
Yeah, today when I was leaving the house to come over here, Andrew's laying down and I was like, okay, bye, Chwadi. And he said bye, and he's like, did you just call me Chwadi? I was like, yes.
Bye, Blecky.
So while they're having this conversation and all laughing and joking around, Mo-yeon gets a call or a text or something from Shijin. So she runs outside to go greet him, thinking that their date is starting early. She's excited. It's cute. But then he tells her he has to go to the department store for a long time. And she's like a week? 2 weeks? Which is nowhere near as long as he's supposed to be there, and it's really sad. And they both try to play it off like it's not really a big deal. And Mo-yeon starts to cry.
And then I start to cry.
Yeah, and I felt bad. I did not cry at that point, but I was just like, oh, man. Oh. He gives her a big hug, and he tells her, I won't die, and that he'll be sure to come back safe. And she's just kind of hugging him and whatever. And she asks if she'll be able to talk to him. But he's like, no, I'm going off the grid. It's going to be hard. And he tells her to wait 1 season without him, and he'll be back when the seasons change. Mo-yeon runs after him, and they hug another time. And then he sees her in his rearview mirror. And then you hear August's voice, and he's saying, like, the whole, he'll never come back. He's a really great guy.
Yeah.
He's got so many secrets.
Ugh. So
Just
freaking
away.
foreboding. Yeah, and like, fuck August. It was funny because Alex was like, does August ever come back? And I'm like, no, dude, you saw his coffin.
Oh my god.
And he was like, I know, but I thought that would be a twist.
He got shot like 70 times, I feel like. Clutching that money.
Yeah. No, he died with the thing he loved the most. But yeah, I don't know if I like take these scenes like extra hard because my dad was in the military and he got deployed a few times while like I was young, and so I had to see him like leave for an extended period. So I don't know if that's why like I get super emotional with stuff like that, or if it's just because I'm a big crybaby and like
you see her crying and her eyes fucking well up so bad.
I know, and she's trying so hard not to cry too. I think that's the other thing, because there are other times when Mo-yeon cries and I'm like, you know, I feel for her, but I'm not like, but I think it's the fact that she's like trying really hard to be strong, but it's just like so hard on her that it just comes out. Yeah.
Whew.
I know. So after Shijin leaves, Mo-yeon is like clearly in a daze at work, and you just see her like piling like a pound of kimchi on her lunch tray, and then she gets a text from Shijin basically being like, hey, we're here, love you, whatever. And like she starts to feel better, and we see her like going about her daily life, and she just continues to text him even though he doesn't text back like, oh, I had a rough surgery, or like,
it's been a long day, really busy,
I'm just now eating my Subway.
Yeah, her sandwich looked really good in one scene.
I know, on the rooftop.
Good. Yeah,
I thought that too. So yeah, again, I like wanted to cry, which is really bad because I wrote a majority of this at work in my cubicle. So I was like looking around and just being like
sniffling to yourself.
Like, don't cry. And I'd have to pause it and like try to collect.
Oh god.
Because when I first watched this episode, I think I just like cried throughout the whole thing. Like, I just let it all out. But yeah.
Oh man.
Okay, so then we cut to like a real rough part.
No, I'm glad you're saying this. I put your name to say this one because I don't want to talk about it. I'll let you
Okay, you'll just let me cry.
I don't want to say it.
Okay. Okay, so Shijin and Daeyoung are like, okay, let me roll it back. So the Alpha team are in kind of like a gnarly looking area, most likely somewhere in the Middle East, I guess we can assume.
Yeah.
And the guy, like the Alpha team, are getting into a helicopter, but they don't all fit. I guess either like they're taking people with them, or
it's so that they had people that they saved or something, some civilians.
And so Shijin and Daeyoung didn't fit in the helicopter. So they're like, y'all go ahead, and there's another helicopter coming for us. We'll meet you back wherever. And then you see them talking about how, like, we're so excited because after this, like, after we get back to base, we can go home. Like, it is their last day there. And then fucking Shijin gets shot, like, out of nowhere. And it looks really bad.
Yeah.
Like, his eyes get kind of red and watery. Like, it looks like he's dying. And then Daeyoung is like, fuck. So he has to, like, carry his body to, like, behind a car, basically.
And he's, like, yelling at him to stay awake.
Yeah, because Shijin's kind of, like, I think going in and out of consciousness. And he's, like, having flashbacks to when his sunbae died in a very similar situation. And he's like, okay, I'll just go. And Daeyoung's like, where are you going? Like, no, gotta stay with me. And, like, they're just being shot at a ton. And then I think Daeyoung gets shot, like, at one point, but, like, in the arm. So he's still kind of with it, but it's really rough. And then you hear Moyeon humming the Korean national anthem, and it's kind of, like, cutting back and forth between her, like, walking down a hall humming, and then Shijin basically dying. And then Snoopy is in the helicopter, and you see, like, the area that they just left, and he's like, fuck, we gotta go back down there because I guess they can see, like, there's gunfire or something. And then a missile comes in and, like, basically explodes the area they were just in. Oh, okay. And then the guys in the helicopter are, like, freaking out.
And screaming.
Yeah, like, no, we gotta go back. And it's just so hard to watch. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
these are two main characters.
Yes. And I feel like at that point, like, I don't know, at that point in the episode, did you think, like, oh, they weaseled their way out of this one, or did you think they died at this point?
Well, I was hoping that they weaseled out, but then I was also like, I don't know. Because I feel like the show is pretty realistic with a lot of the stuff that happens. Other than maybe, like, that car trick that flew into the ocean and survived. There's a lot of stuff that happens, you know, where it's like, yeah, I kind of see that happening. And I've never seen a K-drama, so I'm like, I don't know how far they take this shit. Like,
Yeah.
how is this going to go with main characters and stuff, you know? I was hoping they were fine.
Yeah.
But it looked really bad. I don't know. Moyeon at this point is starting to get upset, and then for us, the viewers, it's really hard to watch.
Yes.
Because we just saw what happened to him, and not only was he not able to respond to her because of where he was, but now, like, we don't even know
if he's alive.
Yeah. And so she's, like, sitting there at the table, and she's getting annoyed because he's not responding to her. And she's basically saying, like, you know what, I am going to have drinks with a really, really handsome guy. Because he joked with her earlier about not doing that while he was gone.
Yeah.
And she's just, like, kind of slamming her phone down. And then Myung-ji oh my god, I can't talk. Myung-ji walks up to her, and she's like, why are you getting so upset? Like, you know, this is what's supposed to happen. It's fine. And they both decide that once the guys get back, they're going to take a vacation. And it's nice because they're actually friends now, and they're getting along.
I like them as friends.
Yeah, it's not awkward between them. Like, they're just talking. There's no, like, snide remarks to one another or, like, backhanded comments, you know? They're just, they're getting along, and they're in the same situation, you know? They both have dudes that are doing the same thing and far away.
Yeah.
But through all this, Moyeon still looks sad that she can't hear from him and she doesn't know where he is. So Myung-ji is just trying to reassure her.
Yeah, I think it's good for Moyeon because, like, Myungju is kind of in the same situation, but she has more, like, background.
She knows.
Knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And she's so calm about it that
Yeah.
I think it kind of puts Moyeon at ease.
Mm-hmm.
And Myungju's just very collected in her thoughts about what's happening. Just,
Yeah.
like, matter of fact. Like, this is what they're doing, and it's fine. We're okay. And then the Alpha team gets back to Korea. Yeah. And they land, and there's a bunch of soldiers, like, all lined up, and they're saluting, and Myungju's dad is there, and it's raining, just like it's raining right now.
Uh-huh.
And he's just standing in the rain, no umbrella or anything, soaking wet. And they have to come down and tell him, like, we completed the mission, but they didn't make it, and we never found them. And her dad calls Shijin's dad and gives him the dog tags and a letter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a letter from Shijin.
Mm-hmm.
And his dad is just kind of staring at it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sort of gripping the paper and the dog tags. And seeing him cry is just so fucking sad.
I can't. Like, it's... I basically cry every time I see a grown man cry for, like, you know, good reason or whatever. Yeah. It's really rough.
It's incredibly rough.
Mm-hmm.
And then one of the saddest parts for me was this next scene where Myungju is at work, not really working. She's just sitting there on her phone looking at, like, a travel website to try to find hotels for them to stay at. She's really excited. And then Kim Bomare, who's been giving her tabs on Daeyoung this whole time, comes in. And he's like, Kim Bomare. And she looks at him, and she's like, what? And she realizes in her head, like, oh my god, Daeyoung's back. And she's really excited, and she's like, tell him to wait where he is, or whatever, I'll be right there. And he just keeps saying his name, Kim Bomare.
Like, being very formal with her.
And very, like, somber sounding, too. And his face looks a little bit pale.
Like, it looks like he wants to cry,
Yeah, it looks really sad. And then suddenly she gets quiet, and she's kind of looking at him, and then he tells her. And it's not good.
No, yeah, she, like, this basically starts Myungju's journey of denial.
Yeah, she at one point says to him, like, no, do it the way you always do it. And it's just like, fuck, man.
Yeah, I think it was, like, a pretty good touch having him be the one to tell her. But also, like, realistically, I feel like her dad should have been the one to tell her. I don't know, but yeah, it was... okay.
No.
So then...
This is us pushing it back and forth with sad pieces
I know,
from this
you're just gonna
episode.
Keep hearing me sighing, trying not to cry. Okay. So then we cut to Moyeon, and Snoopy is there, and he's the one who tells Moyeon the terrible news. And Moyeon, like, runs out of the hospital, and she looks so happy when she first sees Snoopy, like, oh, they're back, like, awesome, where's Shijin, kind of a thing. And then it goes, like, really downhill from there.
Very quick.
So he lets her know that both guys passed away, and we keep cutting back and forth between the two girls, and they have, like, their own unique reactions. I think we kind of talked about this. Both really can't believe what just happened. Obviously, like, they're in a state of shock, but Myungju is almost, like,
it's not
belligerent, almost. Like, she's, like, I don't want to say throwing a fit, but, like, she is not accepting this at all. And Moyeon is just kind of, like, I think trying to process it. Like, what are you talking about? I don't know what to do, kind of a thing. And, yeah, like, she can't understand what's happening. And then, like, Kim Bomare and Snoopy are crying, and I'm crying. And it's just...
And Andrew and I are quiet, just completely not talking to each other.
Yeah, I'm just sniffling in my cubicle, and then...
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's really hard because I think the acting in this episode is so well done. Like, I really believed everything. And I felt like, I don't want to be like, I don't know, what's the word? It doesn't matter. But, I feel like we went through such a journey with everyone that at this point, like, everyone's reactions are very, like, earned, realistic, like, it's really sad, and I think it's really well done, which makes me feel like I'm also in a state of mourning because we love these guys at this point. Like, we've been through a lot with them, and it's, really fucking sad. So Moyeon gets Shijin's letter / will thing that he wrote before he left, and he apologizes for not being able to keep his promise to not die and to come back. And then we see Moyeon run out and just get in her car and, like, just start driving.
I was wondering, I don't think you know the answer, but I was wondering if this is a thing that soldiers actually do.
I don't know. Maybe.
Like do top soldiers like that, Alpha Team soldiers, do they write letters?
I know, just from my dad, like, they do have to write a will. So my dad has to, like, update his will and, like, just paperwork stuff before he gets deployed every time. And I feel like it might be nice for them to, like, maybe write a letter.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I do know that they have to, like, update their beneficiaries and stuff like that, so.
Yeah, because the letter that he writes to her is just so, like, personal and so recent, obviously, like, just before they left. And I don't know. Just got me thinking.
Yeah. I hope they do, because it is a nice, like, at least she has that.
Yeah.
Right.
On the other end, though.
Yeah. So then Myungju, like, after we see Moyeon run to her car, Myungju storms into her dad's office, and she's still in denial. She keeps saying that it's not true, and she begs her dad to tell her they got it wrong, that it's not real. And her dad hands her the letter that Jae-young left for her, and she tells him she doesn't want it, and she doesn't accept it. And she says that if she accepts it and reads it, it means he's really dead. And then she, like, throws a fit and basically blames her dad for not being able to make up with him before he left, which is even more heartbreaking because we see Jae-young waiting for her at her place. And, like, they were so close to being able to be together. And he tells her to basically not, like, grow up, but basically, like, take the letter. Like, he was an honorable guy. It was left by an honorable soldier. Like, the least he could do is take his letter.
Yeah.
And then she, like, rips it out of his hands, and she, like, runs out.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to essentially blame her dad, but, like, she wanted Seo-young to stay.
Yeah.
Like, she wanted him to continue being in the Alpha Team and stuff, and that's the risk that you're taking when you're in that position, too, you know?
Yeah, it is.
So.
Yeah, because, I don't know, I kind of feel like her dad did play a big part, obviously.
Absolutely.
But at the point when they broke up for, the third time or whatever, it was kind of all of them.
Yeah.
Like, her dad
not
was
being able to
work it out.
Yeah.
Because her dad was, like, kind of like, fuck it, like, you can do whatever you want. Even though he still was kind of judgy, which I guess was Jae-young's gripe about it. But, like, it was really the two of them not being able to communicate well enough with each other. So, but yeah, I mean, I can kind of understand her, because, I mean, I think she would just, like, lash out at anyone, and
he was an easy target.
Yeah, exactly.
The easiest target, honestly.
Yes.
Then we see Moyeon, and she's running around the base, and then she finds Myungju crying, and she asks why she's crying, and if she's crying, what is she supposed to do? So it goes back to their conversation earlier and what we were saying, how Myungju is just really, really strong and understands everything that's happening, and so she's pretty calm and collected. But seeing her crying there on the steps and just, like, losing it, essentially, like, what the hell is Moyeon supposed to do when she really doesn't know anything, you know? She knows nothing about what their missions are like or what they're going through or what's happening or any of that information. So it's really heartbreaking for her to see Myungju in that situation. She asks if she double-checked with her dad because maybe they made a mistake, and her dad's in a super high position, so maybe he has more information than what's going around. And she keeps going on and on and on, and Myungju doesn't answer. She just keeps crying and looking down. And then Moyeon yells at her to stop crying and answer her, and then Myungju just crumbles in front of her, and it fucking sucks.
And you just, like, see her, like, crumbled up letter in her hand. Yeah.
And when Mo-yeon sees that, then she gets it, that they're really gone. Myungju starts to cry even harder. And you noted that you start to cry harder.
Yes. It's so hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really heartbreaking because these two girls just basically kind of patched things up and became friends. Like, I'm glad that they have each other to go through this, but we've seen them be so strong, like, for the past 15 episodes or whatever.
We saw Myungju be strong and still working while she was dying, essentially.
Yeah, and for this to happen to them, it just really sucks. And they're, again, so good at, like, grieving and crying. It just feels, like, really so real. And I can, like, I kind of empathize with Mo-yeon because I kind of feel like that's how I would be. Like, if I got that terrible news, like, no, let's go through every possible situation in which this could not be right. Like, this could have been a mistake. Like, let's check everything before.
Especially in their line of work and how secretive everything is.
Yeah, and she knows, like,
how like,
people lie and shit.
And,
yeah.
But at this point, seeing Myungju like that, seeing the letter, she starts freaking out. Like, that's it. It's over. And, like, what am I supposed to do now? Like, I'm really not going to see him again? Really? He's not coming back? And she just sits next to Myungju, and they are just sobbing next to each other. And it's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I hate it. And then we cut to Mo-yeon in her apartment. And we hear the rest of Shijin's letter as a voiceover, and he tells her not to cry for too long, and he tells her to live brightly and to be able to move on and to not remember him for too long.
Ugh.
I don't even know what to say to that one.
I know.
I have no response for that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's good because he wants her to be happy until... And he, like, I kind of simplified it, but basically he says to her, like, that meeting her was, like, the best thing ever, and, like, she brightened up his world, so, like, she needs to still be bright and all this stuff. But again, it's, like, I think the first time I watched it, I, again, like, was just sobbing the whole time, but I kept thinking, like, no, this isn't right. This isn't right. I kept, like, going back and forth between, like, oh, fuck, like, these guys died. Like, they died. And then, like, no, there's going to be a twist. So, it's just terrible. But great. But terrible. So, then the jerky commander guy comes in, and he tells Mo-yeon that she has to sign a confidentiality oath because of the circumstances in which his death occurred. And he says that they have to report that they both died in a car accident, which I feel like is a really lame, I mean, like, obviously, like, RIP to people who have died in car accidents, like, that really sucks, and that's really sad. But also, like, I don't understand why they have to make up a death scenario. Like, can't they just say...
He died in combat?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, so... Unless
it's such a weird top secret mission, they can't even say that they were gone. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. So, she, again, is just kind of... She almost just looks, like, numb at this point. And she asks him a bunch of questions, like, if his death helped protect people, to keep the peace, yada yada. And he's, like, basically saying, like, yes, his death was meaningful. And so she's like, okay, so if it's this meaningful, like, why do you have to keep it a secret? Kind of a thing. And that basically she's saying, like, it's messed up that even his death, even though he dedicated, like, so much of his life to his country, has to be a secret.
Yeah.
And she signs it, and then she's, like, talking out loud to Shijin so everyone can hear, which I think is kind of interesting. And she's basically just asking or telling him, like, I hope this is what you would want me to do. Like, I hope I'm making the right choice. And the jerky commander guy looks really sad also. Like, him and Shijin had their
tiffs.
Yes. So did him and Moyeon. But, I mean, again, I think, like, Shijin kind of seemed like the type of person who made a big impact on everyone. And I don't know. It's really sad. Okay. So after that, you kind of see her getting on with her life. She's back in the OR. And I also said, also great for Dr. Jang. She looks great because she's had the baby at this point. Which, after I wrote that, I was like, well, duh. Like, the actress probably wasn't pregnant. But I just thought, like, she looks good.
She looks good for just giving birth.
So Dr. Kim comes over to her during her lunch, and she congratulates her on getting her title back and being promoted so quickly. So I wasn't sure if that just meant, like, her being a VIP doctor again, or her just, like, being a higher up person in the ER. I guess it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But she got promoted, so good for Moyeon. But then she continues to be a bitch, and she pressures Moyeon to change a medicine that is currently cheap and effective to a different brand that is more expensive, since it would benefit her family. Like, I think she says, like, an uncle is, like, works for the company that produces that medicine. And Moyeon, at this point, is, like, just over it. She's like, no, why would I change something that's cheap and effective to something that's just more expensive? And then, like, this kind of pisses Dr. Kim off, and she tells her, like, why do you care? Like, it's not your money. And, which again, like, why is this woman a doctor?
I don't know.
Like, fuck.
She sucks.
Yeah, she does.
She sucks so hard.
And she tells her that if she really cares about saving people, then she should just go volunteer again. And I said, but shouldn't Dr. Kim also be concerned about saving people?
As a fucking
like,
doctor.
Why is this woman a doctor? Who let this woman become a doctor?
It's because she's pretty.
Yeah.
And she, obviously, I'm sure has connections.
Exactly, yeah. Like, that's how she got the professorship or whatever.
Gets what she wants with, like, little to no fucking work. Ugh. Then we end up cutting to Moyeon now drinking with Dr. Pyo in her office again. And Moyeon is still pretty depressed. I'm not sure how far this is, like, what the time difference is from finding out and now. But she's still upset. And Dr. Pyo looks worried about her, and she's sleeping at the hospital in the overnight room. She's working nonstop. It's really bad.
Yeah, I was like, so have you seen overnight rooms, or do you know what?
I have no idea.
I was wondering if they had these in the U.S. because, like, I've never seen them on Scrubs or ER or House, but which is, like, basically what I know about hospitals. But in a few Korean dramas, I've seen, like, basically at these hospitals, they have little mini dorms. So it's, like, a room with, like, 3 bunk beds in it. And it's just, so if the doctors need to, like, spend the night there or just, like, take a nap in between surgeries or something, they can go into these rooms.
Damn.
And, like,
I'm sure there's something like that. There must be.
Yeah.
Ugh, to be a doctor.
I know.
God. Can't imagine.
But yeah, but then, like, when you realize what Dr. Pyo is saying, like, Moyeon's just, like, not going home.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, it's terrible. Moyeon tells Dr. Pyo all of the things that make her think of Shijin, basically. And she's smiling while crying. Because she's, like, kind of staring, and she's like, what are you thinking about? And she just starts listing random things, like hair ties.
Yeah.
And just, like, random things that happen between the two of them.
Like x-ray, coffee, hair tie. And then, like, I think as the viewer, you remember all of those things,
all
too.
those moments. And she starts getting upset, and Dr. Pyo pours her more wine, and they both laugh and cry and move on.
Yeah.
Which is sweet, but it's so fucking depressing.
I know, because they have, like, back to the beginning where they're drinking wine out of mugs and eating, like, string cheese.
Yeah. Youngju is back in her dad's office at this point and is reporting her deployment to leave to Urk again. He apologizes again for what he did to them in the relationship, and he also asks her to not get sick this time. Just kind of funny, but sweet and sad all at the same time. It's a little bit of everything.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, she went through some rough stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
After we're kind of like aware of where the girls are at, we see them meet up for some day drinking. So Koreans drink a lot, apparently. So day drinking is a big thing. So Myungju tells her she's being deployed to Urk, and Moyeon says like she's a little jealous, like she wants to go back there. And Myungju gives Moyeon Shijin's stuffed animal, Comrade. Is it a beaver, did they say? Or a wolf? I don't remember. We had this discussion before, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I know Saryang's is like a little bunny.
Yeah.
It's super cute. And I'm not sure what Shijin's is.
It's either a beaver or a wolf. Or
it also kind of looks like a bear.
Yeah, I don't know
what it is. It's cute, though.
It's cute. It's because his is wearing a hat.
Mm-hmm.
And like...
You can't see the ears,
yeah.
really.
Oh, so yeah, so she gives him the stuffed animal, and I think it's funny that Myungju is like, this was Jae-young's girlfriend, and that Shijin's comrade, and she kind of like punches the bunny. It's cute. And so they're like, yeah, we're gonna do what the boys did and drink for 3 days straight, since I think that's when Myungju is like leaving for her deployment. And so they're kind of just like hanging and drinking, and Moyeon asks Myungju how the two boys met. And then we flash back to the day that Myungju went with Jae-young on the wedding. And so I think at this point it's kind of afterwards, right? And Jae-young is just kind of like, I guess, standing there deep in his Jae-young thoughts. And he like starts to walk outside, and it's raining, like it's raining today. And Shijin runs up, and he has like this really big grin on his face.
He looks like a little kid too.
Yeah,
his outfit and everything. He's so excited and so much smaller.
Yes, and which I think is so nice too, because like you can. I don't like the phrase like he was so full of life. Like I feel like it's kind of corny, but like this scene really emphasizes like he was just like such a sweet, goofy
happy
guy.
person.
Yeah. And so, and of course this is like in slow motion, like him running and like going under the umbrella, and then it like kind of goes back to real time. And Shijin's like, hey, I'm the new commander, like let's share an umbrella. And Jae-young immediately says, we're dating. And Shijin is like, what? You
and
mean
he, like,
us?
slowly takes his arm off.
Because yeah, he's like has his arm on his shoulder.
He's hugging him.
And then Jae-young is like, no, I'm dating Myungju. And like, cut to them at a bar. And Jae-young is like really serious. And he can't keep his story straight. Like, he's like, when did you guys meet? When did you start dating? He's like, so you started dating before you met? And like, all this stuff. But Jae-young is like, I'm dating Myungju. Like, he just keeps repeating himself. And Shijin kind of like laughs at him and is like, okay, like you don't have to worry, we're not gonna fight over Myungju. And I liked the line when he says, like, when we do fight, I want us to be on the same side.
Yeah, I liked that too.
Which I thought was sweet. So after that, we see Moyeon walking around. Obviously the girls did not drink for 3 days straight.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah. And she's carrying Shijin's stuffed animal. And you see her, like, again, like, walking through the streets, and it kind of flashes back to times when her and Shijin were in those areas. And she's just kind of, like, remembering all the things that they did together. And we get to, like, cut to a little flashback to see them say, I love you to each other for the first time, which is really sweet.
Yeah, this whole episode is just full of, like, tears and memories and just, oh god,
they did it so well, right? Like, fuck. So basically Shijin and Moyeon are like at a coffee shop, and they're talking about, like, you know, their regular flirting stuff, and then they bring up that they've never said I love you to each other, and it's really cute. But basically, they kind of start play fighting about it. Like, well, who's going to say it first? I don't want to say it first. Blah, 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 blah. And then Shijin just kind of, like, spits it out. And it's so sweet.
And she's like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah. Kind of shocked me.
And then he just keeps saying it to her. And it's, like, really fucking cute. And she, like, says it to him back. And they have these cute, like, little chocolate heart things on a stick, which I thought were really cute. And, like, they get to dip them in their coffee, I guess, to make it
I don't know.
Hot chocolate coffee. That looked really good to me. I kind of want that. But, again, God, these people are just so beautiful. And I'm just like, I just want them to be together again. Like, why the fuck did he die? Okay.
Moyeon is now back at home. And she lights her sponsored candle. This is like the fourth time period, I think. And she asks the stuffed animal if she's pretty because of the lighting. And then Shijin appears, and he picks up the stuffed animal and says she's always beautiful. And they tell each other they miss each other. And they talk just a little bit about how he was trying to come home to her. And she starts to cry.
And then I start to cry again.
And she keeps saying he didn't come home, though. And she's just repeating those types of things, like you're a liar, basically. You told me this and you didn't actually do it. And then he disappears, but the stuffed animal is still on the couch where he put it. When it was initially like on the floor. So it's really weird.
And I said, ghost?
Yeah, I don't know if that was a continuity thing, that they just didn't put it back, or they thought, I don't know.
I feel like it was kind of a statement, like, but I don't know how it got there.
Yeah, like a statement, but it still doesn't make sense.
Maybe, like, Moyeon actually put it there.
Maybe.
In real life. Like, she was just kind of, like, playing it out in her head, and, like, I don't know.
Who knows?
But, ghost?
Yeah, maybe. Myungju is now back in Urk and unpacking, and she puts Saryang's letter that she still hasn't read and swears to never read inside of her locker. Then we see Moyeon at the airport, and apparently she's on her way to Albania, and she gets a call from Dr. Daniel, who is camping out at the airport in protest. So they talk about her going to this refugee camp and just kind of reminiscing. And I don't know if I heard right that she said it's been a year since his death. Okay. That's what I thought I had seen.
Yeah, I think she says, like, the day that, or maybe, like, in a few days. So basically, when she gets there, it'll be a year since he died.
So basically, doing this thing sort of in his honor or whatever.
Yeah. And, like, to distract herself, I guess.
Definitely.
So we see Moyeon, like, get to Albania, and she looks happy to be there and continues to text Shijin, which is, like, again, really heartbreaking. Yeah. And we, like, Dr. Daniel's press conference is kind of, like, spliced throughout, and it's basically just a speech on how drug companies kind of rip people off because they patent medicines that, like, never get used, and they, like, get to upcharge people like crazy, and
similar
it's just
to the medicine that Dr. Kim wants to get.
Yes, exactly.
Overpriced and maybe doesn't work. I don't know.
Yeah, like, God, fuck Dr. Kim. She's the worst. And yeah, so basically it's cutting between that, and then we also hear, like, a voiceover of Moyeon, like, what she's texting to Shijin. And basically we kind of land on, like, Moyeon, I feel like, it's kind of like the person who she's always been inside. Like, she doesn't care about money anymore. She doesn't care about whatever material possessions. Like, she just wants to be a doctor who saves people.
Yeah.
And, like, that's what brings her happiness. So then we cut to Myungju treating a patient in Urk, and she yells at the commanding officer, who is then revealed to be Kim Ki-bum.
And I have to say, like, I teared up a lot on this episode. But for some reason, when Kim Ki-bum appeared, my eyes, like, really teared up. And I can't even explain why.
I can think... Okay, this is the reason why I wanted to cry. Because I feel like Shijin... Or not Shijin. Like, Jaeyoung and Kim Ki-bum had, like, a really special relationship. And I feel like... I'm gonna cry. I feel like Myungju and Kim Ki-bum getting to be together is like a way to kind of keep that going.
Yeah.
And then like it's also really sweet to see how Kim Ki-bum is still doing really well for himself.
How far he's come.
Yeah, because he's like a little man now. Like he looks so confident. Whereas before he was just kind of like this weird
goofy kid
hoodlum who kept making mistakes. And then you see him get really good at cooking. And now he's like this commanding officer. And Myungju looks like really pleasantly surprised. It's really sweet. But yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be him. But once he like walked through the door, I was like, oh my God.
He's so sweet. So he makes her ramen, I guess, for old time's sake. And they talk about Daeyoung, how he really liked ramen also. And then, so they're just kind of like sitting and eating. And Kim Ki-bum gets excited because he sees at the window that it has started to snow in Urk, which is really rare. And Myungju looks out the window and she's like, oh. But she is just like, whatever. She just still looks really sad.
Yeah. I don't know why at that point, when he was like pointing out the window, I was like, is that a young bear? Like, please let him be there.
And then it just snowed.
It was really literally just snow. Oh, fuck. God damn it.
Yeah. So then we come back to Moyeon, and she's walking through a desert area. And she kind of mentioned this, I think, in her texts to Shijin prior. Like, oh, there's a desert. I wonder if there's an oasis. And she ties her hair up because it's like really windy, and then she's reminded of the moment when Shijin did her hair, and she walks to an area with like a bunch of rocks, and they're kind of like stacked on top of each other. And I said, I'm happy to see she's wearing appropriate shoes. And she like goes up to a tall stack of rocks and places some flowers there, kind of like a little altar almost, and she remembers all the times that Shijin told her he would be back and to not get hurt, and she calls him a liar, and she starts to cry again. Because I think her going to Albania is kind of like twofold. Like, in her life in Korea, she could distract herself a lot with like work all the time. And now she's, like, in Albania, which I guess is also kind of a distraction, but it seems like she has more alone time.
Yeah.
Which can really let her get some stuff out.
Yeah.
And, like, as soon as she starts to, like, cry pretty hard, she gets a call, like, over the radio. And they use her call sign, Beauty. So she gets a call from headquarters, and it kind of, like, brings her back to reality. And so she tries to place the rock from Urk on the stack of rocks where she left the flowers, but it won't stay. Like, it keeps getting blown off or, like, kind of tipping over.
And then we hear Shijin's voice on the radio. And she, like, freaks out. And it seems like it's a fucking ghost. And it's, like, windy. And the rock keeps falling. And it just suddenly seems weird. Like, it's, like, I don't know, like a dream or like a mystical thing is about to happen. Like a little tornado's gonna come and she's just gonna fly in it or something. It just gets really weird here.
Yeah.
And so she thinks she's losing her mind. But then she looks at her phone and it has the messages she's been sending him, and suddenly it just says like red, 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 red. And she starts freaking out, and then she hears his voice again, and he tells her to turn around. And she's looking, and then suddenly his little head pops out because he's like walking up the hill. So you see his little head, and he's walking towards her, and she can't believe it. And she starts running towards him, but it's really sandy and it's a hill, so she keeps falling. And she can't, like, I'm sure out of shock too.
Yeah.
With like a fucking year of him being gone, and suddenly he's in front of her, and it's like, is this really truly happening, or am I fucking losing my mind? And so she's like tripping on herself, and he runs over to her. And he grabs her, and he looks really messed up. He looks really tan, and he has like scratches on his face, and he just doesn't look very well put together. And he tells her it's been a long time, and she asks if he's alive, and he tells her he continues to complete his mission, and she's crying, and they're just hugging and crying, and everyone's crying.
Yeah,
I'm
crying.
The episode ends. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened?
Uh-huh.
Where's my flashback of the story of what happened during that time? Because they always do flashback, and I don't want to wait.
Yeah.
And where's Sadie?
Yeah. It's a lot.
Truly.
Yeah, because I'm kind of with Moyan, like, I'm kind of like, wait, is this real life?
Yeah.
What's going on here? Yeah.
I mean, a fucking year.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like a week. It wasn't like a day of thinking he was dead.
Mm-hmm.
It was a year of having to try to cope with it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly it appears.
In Albania? What?
And we know he's like, he's got all these connections because he's on the Alpha team and can do whatever he wants. But like, what?
Yeah. Like, why? Yeah. I mean, we figure out how he survives in the next episode, but it is kind of a, like, at this point, I think when I first watched it, I was like, well, one, I immediately watched the next episode.
Yeah, duh. You're not having to wait like me.
But I was like, is he really back? Like, I kept thinking, like, is this a dream?
Yeah.
Like,
that's what it feels like to me, just because the way it all kind of came together, and like the radio and the wind and the rock, and it just seemed all so magical. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it seems so real, so I don't know.
Yeah. This was like a really good episode, but I feel like not a great episode to talk about because we just keep saying, huh. You really need to watch this.
Very depressing. Mm-hmm. It was such a roller coaster because it starts off so funny and so cute and so happy.
Yeah.
Aside from Youngju and Daeyoung kind of being upset with each other, but that was going to fix itself.
Yeah.
You know, like, the way the two of them are, they would have figured it out.
Right.
And then it fucking turned on you.
So quick. Yeah.
Ugh. God.
I know. Well, you want to talk about some clothes?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yes, God!
Even though this episode was really sad, I felt like there was some great fashion moments. So, I mentioned this earlier, but I loved what the guys were wearing when they were going to, like, cheer Kim Ki-bum on to take his GED. And I don't know whether it's Harry Potter or Piccolo, because I can't tell those two apart. I feel like they're brothers, or they look like brothers.
I've never paid attention to them. They don't show them as often as Snoopy.
Yeah. But it's one of those kind of third tier Alpha team guys. He has like it's like a turtleneck, but it's not like folded over. Did you notice it?
I didn't.
It was just like a cream. That's like, I guess the only way I could describe it. It's like a cream turtleneck, but usually turtlenecks are kind of like folded at the neck, whereas this is just like a straight tube.
Gotcha.
It's really cute. And I liked both of the girls. Well, I liked the girls' outfits when they meet up. When they're like during their grieving process.
Yeah, when they go drinking.
Yeah, like Moyan has a blue coat on, and then I really liked Myungju's fluffy black and white sweater, but then it has like a red cuff.
Yeah, they both looked super cute for being depressed.
Yeah, they're really holding themselves together well. Did you have any fashion?
I didn't have any big fashion moments. I did like their outfits during the meetup. But I think I was just mostly depressed.
Yeah.
Honestly.
In a state of shock.
Yeah, too depressed to think of, to be looking out for clothing. But I feel like the girls always look cute when they're out of their work clothes.
Yeah, totally. And Shijin's wearing a scarf when we see him
later on
in his mirage state or whatever. So
God,
that's an interesting choice. But yeah, I guess we'll get to our I love you moment.
I love you.
I love you. I will always love you.
I love you.
we have the same one.
Yeah, it's the end.
Yeah,
like
duh. Has to be.
I feel like it is one of the saddest but simultaneously most romantic moments of TV ever. Like, I can't think of another episode of TV that is like this. Mm-hmm. Can you? Like, it's so unique. Huh. But, like, okay, what was, like, going through your head when you watched that scene? Like,
Is this real?
yeah.
How?
Why?
Again, is this real? Where is Sao Young?
Uh-huh.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I love their hug.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just kind of, like, bearing their faces into each other.
I love when she's running and falling.
Uh-huh.
And then he goes and basically, like, catches her.
Uh-huh. I felt like that was also realistic, too. Like, the falling.
She literally couldn't probably run through there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think it was just... It all felt so real and so right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there really weren't any other romantic moments.
No, just fucking depressing.
Yeah, I did... Again, this isn't really romantic, but I really liked the scene where Kim Ki-bum makes Myung-ju ramen.
Mm-hmm.
Like...
It's sweet.
It's really sweet, and it's kind of like... Again, Kim Ki-bum being, like, Jae-young's younger brother, almost. Like... It's nice to see him kind of, like, taking care of Myung-ju, too. Kind of in the place of Jae-young, or, like... Not in the place, but, like, making sure, like, she's okay.
Yeah, definitely.
And, like, him being their connecting force is really sweet. But, yeah. Fuck. So good and so sad at the same time.
And next week's the final.
I know.
It's crazy.
I know.
We didn't get really any Dr. Song or Nurse Ha in this episode.
No, yeah. We got way too much Dr. Kim.
I know. Less Kim, more...
Dr. Song.
Yeah, seriously.
I loved Lee Chi-hoon's Chwati Blecky
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
That was a great moment of comedic relief.
I feel like Dr. Kim is, like, this character there to cause conflict, but it's not very successful. Like, it's just... I don't know.
Annoying.
She's just a character that you don't really need because there's already other conflict. And so when you see her, you're just like, get the fuck off the screen. Like,
Yeah.
we don't need you. We need other people.
That's true. I never really thought about it that way, but, like...
Because every time she comes in, she just steps in to say something mean.
Like, she could have gotten fired or something. Like, because she really is, like, the catalyst for Mo-yeon becoming, like, the VIP doctor. Which, great. Like, she doesn't need to be in the show after episode 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. I agree with that. Oh, Dr. Daniel.
Oh, uh-huh.
Were you surprised to see him back?
I was.
I was too.
Especially...
the first time. Yeah.
especially in the middle of protesting at an airport.
Yeah, I thought it was funny how he just has a little tent.
They won't let me in, so they said I could be here.
Yeah. And how he's like, yeah, I'm banned from entering, like, 15 countries or something.
So funny.
Yeah, and Mo-yeon's like, well, women do love a bad boy.
No wonder Shijin was like, no, Fatima can't stay with them.
Yeah, good look
people,
for Shijin.
Good people, but not reliable.
Yeah.
They're always somewhere.
Yeah. So I liked seeing him again. He's always good to have around.
Definitely.
Again, more of him, less Dr.
Yeah.
Kim.
More Chwati / Becky, less Dr. Kim.
Okay, so yeah, next episode is the finale. What are you looking forward to?
Finding out what happened in there. How he survived. Finding out where Sada Young is and if he survived. I would like a conclusion of Dr. Song and Nurse Ha. I would like to, like, get a final, like, yes, they're together.
Yeah.
Not just more like, oh, I kind of like you, but I'm going to be mean to you sort of thing. I want, like, an official, like, fucking kiss.
Yeah.
Give me a goddamn kiss in the finale, please. These are, like, we're not going to see them again, you know? So I want to, like, at least have an idea of where their story goes after this.
Totally.
I always wonder that about shows. I'm like, where's this person now? Where's this fictional
You
character?
just have to, like, write some more fan fiction.
I wonder where they're at. What are they doing?
We need, like, a Notebook-style movie of just Dr. Song and Nurse Ha.
Please.
Just their love story.
We have a good idea, I guess, where Kim Ki-bum will be, because he's already commander. I think his story is already, like, basically finished and told.
Yeah.
I think those are the main ones. The main things that I'd like to know.
Yeah. Well, I think, not to speak too soon, but the finale, I think, is, like, very satisfying.
Good.
The very ending is kind of goofy, but it's fine. Like, it's a satisfying ending. Like, I think that's a thing that Korean dramas do well, is they kind of, like, are able to tie up loose ends pretty well, because most of them are only one season, so they don't have, like, years and years of
Stories that kind of make sense, but don't usually make sense.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for us to finish Descendants of the Sun, and yeah, I'm really happy.
Me too.
And then we get
sad but happy.
Yes, and then we get to start another journey.
Yes.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed all of our sighing and tears, please rate us a 5-star rating. Leave us a review.
It'll make us feel a little bit better.
It really will. Tweet us at OKDramaPod on Twitter. Tell us you gave us a rating, and we'll give you a little virtual high five.
We'll heart that.
Yes, totally. And you can follow us on Instagram at OKDramaPodcast. That's where we post the visuals that kind of accompany the pod, and just fun stuff, fun GIFs and whatnot.
Yeah.
You can see, follow us there to see me, like, do live stories every time I go to Subway.
Yes. I'm like, oh, Kaitlin's at Subway right now. Okay.
Just, like, living my best Korean drama life. Which, funny story, I asked my mom if she'd had Subway yet, because she's living in Korea right now, and she's like, no, I haven't, but I've had Burger King a few times. There are a ton of Burger Kings over here. I know, and I was like, well, I guess all of the Burger Kings in the U.S. are closing and moving to Korea, because there are, like, no Burger Kings here. She's like, yeah, it's a lot better over here than it is over there. So, anyway, yes. And what else? Oh, Facebook, of course, OK Drama Podcast, and email us all of your thoughts and feelings and fan fiction, whatever else you want to talk to us about, at okdramapodcast@gmail.com. And yeah, I guess that's it. I'm excited for next week, and I can feel like we're going to be in a much better mood next week. So yeah, I guess
trust you.
Until next time, bye.